Most of the birds that he collected, he shot, but some of them he collected live for ornithologists in England who were very interested in having menageries or aviaries with live birds in them.
Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. How much would you pay for a single feather? The world's most expensive one belongs to the huia bird and reportedly costs around $10,000. Regardless of how absurd it sounds, there are certain reasons that justify this enormous price tag. Here's why the feather of the huia bird is $10,000. Before we get into it, make sure to leave a like and subscribe with notifications turned on, so you don't miss out on any of the new videos we post. Let's get started. Number 5. The New Zealand auction.
Family here at 880. Good. I get to stay out of the bidding, but at 890, so square ledger at 900 team.
The huia bird first came under the modern spotlight when its single tail feather was sold at a 2010 auction in Auckland, a city in New Zealand's North Island. The world record-breaking sale at Webb's Auction House made headlines all around the globe, as the brown and white feather was sold for a crazy price of NZ $8,000, or $6,787 US, which roughly equates to $10,000 US today. The previous record holder was the American bald eagle, with an eagle feather selling for a mere NZ $4,000 at a US auction. But no one expected the huia bird feather's final price to go so high. In fact, the pre-sale price of the feather was set at only NZ $500, after it was verified as authentic by experts from New Zealand's National Museum, Te Papa. So who exactly ended up spending a whopping NZ $8,000 for the feather, you may ask? Well, little was revealed about the buyer as they chose to stay anonymous, but we do know that the feather was sold to a family from Wellington, while the seller was a man who had it in his family for generations. Number 4. Why it's so valuable.
For some early European scientists, it was normal to hunt and collect birds like the prized huia.
Considering the enormous price of this particular feather, it's easy to wonder what makes it so special. For starters, it belongs to an extinct species of New Zealand wattlebird, as the last huia bird was sighted in 1907, but possible sightings continued even into the 1950s and early 1960s. Besides its extinction, the huia bird is also considered crucial due to its sheer beauty, bill shape, and its special place in the Maori culture. But before we get into that, let's take a look at what the huia bird was actually like. Number 3. An iconic bird.
We know of one record of Maori feather hunters in Wairarapa who collected 646 in a single month.
The well-known huia was the largest of the 5 New Zealand wattlebird species. Since female and male huia had extremely different features, like bill sizes and shapes, the species was considered quite distinct as compared to other types of wattlebird. At first sight, any huia bird would look like a black, glossy songbird with rounded wings, while its feathers were black as well, with green and bluish-purple metallic sheen. The feathers also had 2 to 3 centimeter white tips, forming a bold white band across the tail end. Number 2. Cultural importance. The indigenous Maori people of New Zealand considered the huia bird tapu, which translates to holy or sacred, which explains why wearing hats with the huia feather was something reserved only for the elite of that era. Maori attracted the huia by imitating its call and then captured it with a carved pole called tari, or hunted it with long spears. The bird would then be kept in a cage before its tail feathers were plucked when they grew fully in size. Despite the fact that the bird was mostly found in the southern North Island, the value of its tail feathers was a much talked about topic in many tribes, where these feathers were exchanged for other precious items, like shark teeth, and were even used as gifts or to decorate the heads of the deceased at funerals. Through trade, huia tail feathers reached even the most remote areas of New Zealand, and considering their value, it makes perfect sense that they were transported and stored in special treasure containers called waka huia. But the Maori weren't the only people who considered this bird sacred. A vast majority of Europeans in the 19th century valued and hunted the huia before its different parts were used as jewelry and ornaments, such as pohoi. It was worn from the neck or ears and was made after the bird was dried with its legs and wings removed. Another example is the pendant called the ngutu huia, which was made from dried huia heads. While female huia hadn't reached the peak of its popularity until 1901, when the Duke of York was photographed wearing one during his visit to New Zealand. Afterward, huia tail feathers were launched as a new fashion trend in both Britain and New Zealand, which kept raising their value even more. Number 1. Extinction. As huia skins and tail feathers became high in demand for mounted specimens and hat decorations respectively, the species started becoming increasingly endangered. Besides wealthy collectors in Europe and New Zealand hunting and capturing the huia, overseas bird collectors and museums were also paying hefty amounts to get their hands on these birds. Apart from overhunting, severe deforestation in the lowlands of the North Island also contributed to huia's extinction, and today it's considered one of New Zealand's most remembered extinct birds. The story behind the $10,000 huia tail feather is certainly interesting, but it also reminds us how crucial it is to preserve the environment and prevent any more species from becoming extinct. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.